So you wake in the middle of the night with your heart racing and gasping for breath. You're convinced you're having a major medical malfunction or something terrible is about to happen, or both. Well, it's likely you're experiencing what some call a nocturnal panic attack. In this video, I'm going to explain why these happen, what we should be doing when they do happen, and how we stop them. So let's do it. So, nocturnal panic attacks, they're one of the most unsettling things you can experience because unlike daytime panic, where you might at least have some idea of what triggered it, these seem to come out of nowhere. You're asleep one minute and the next you're wide awake, heart pounding and convinced you're in life-threatening danger. And this is perhaps the first thing to point out. Panic attacks, whether they're in the day or the night, are essentially the same thing, and they're never about actual danger. They're about the perception of danger. Now, when they happen during the day, it's usually easier to link them to some stressful thought or situation. But at night, you're not consciously worrying about anything, so why would your body suddenly go into full-on alarm mode? This can be why we feel like we have no say in whether they occur or not, and also why we tell ourselves the story that the reason we're having them is because we're afflicted with a disorder that's just part of our genetic or biochemical makeup. Hopefully what we talk about today will help you understand that this isn't the case and that we have much more agency than we currently realise. So let's look at a few reasons nocturnal panic attacks occur so we can demystify the process a little and downgrade the perceived threat from them. Even when you're asleep, your mind's still busy sorting through the emotional and mental events of your day. If there's unresolved stress or tension, something you've pushed aside or distracted yourself from, it doesn't just vanish when you close your eyes. In fact, when you finally relax and your conscious mind switches off, that's often when the subconscious starts trying to process what's left. And if your emotional system senses something unresolved or important, it can fire up the panic response as a way of saying, hey, why are you asleep? We need to deal with this. So the panic isn't random, it's your mind's slightly clumsy attempt to get your attention. Now, it's important to remember that this doesn't mean you have something threatening in your life that requires immediate attention. Your subconscious isn't an all-seeing oracle. There are parts of you that are making mistakes all the time, and that's okay. It's very probably a slightly frightened and confused part that hits the panic button when the rest of you's trying to get some sleep. During sleep, especially when you're transitioning between the different stages of sleep, your body changes heart rate, breathing pattern, and temperature. It happens to all of us and is very healthy and natural. However, if your mind is already on high alert for any physical shifts, as it inevitably might be if you've started to interpret any anxiety-related sensations to be a threat to you, it can mistakenly take those totally normal changes as signs of danger. Before you know it, the alarm's been sounded, adrenaline kicks in, your heart starts racing, and you wake up mid-panic. Not because something's wrong, but because your mind got the wrong memo. Your body being triggered into fight or flight is not a malfunction. It's just once again your mind making mistakes about perceived threat. And that's the key word here, perceived. It's not actual threat. Panic is never an actual threat. Once you've had one or two of these nocturnal panic attacks, or even just instances of waking anxious when you're trying to get a full night's sleep, your mind can start to associate being in bed with this is when scary things happen. That conditioning can make you hyper alert at night, almost waiting for the next one. You might even find yourself delaying going to bed at night because you're afraid of what might happen. This thing of adjusting your behavior in response to nocturnal panic is ironically what makes them more likely to repeat. You're validating that idea that nighttime is a war zone rather than a time to be at peace. However, the good news is once you understand what's really happening, that association can absolutely start to fade. Remember, as with all these reasons we're covering in this video, it's only the mystery and the fear around the idea of nocturnal panic attacks that keeps the panic alive. Attack is entirely a misnomer when it comes to what's actually happening. It makes it sound like something external to you is attacking you, but in truth, it's the opposite. There's nothing attacking you, and your mind isn't turning against you. It's actually trying to protect you. It's just doing it in the wrong way by misreading your internal signals and assuming danger when there isn't any. Also, what's our definition of a panic attack compared to, say, feeling highly anxious? When do we decide, yes, that was a panic attack? Did it help to give it that label? Or did it maybe just demonize it in your mind and set it up as the big bad that's coming to get you when you sleep? My advice here is, rather than thinking something's attacking me, it's much more accurate to think my mind's trying to keep me safe. It's just overreacted. That simple shift in perspective can be quite useful because it changes the emotional tone of what's happening. You go from I'm under attack to I'm being protected, and that instantly starts to calm the system down. But hey, what about practical tips to stop this happening? So now we know a bit more about why they happen and what's going on here. How do we stop nocturnal panic attacks? Well, here are a few practical points worth remembering. Firstly, avoid stimulants like caffeine, alcohol, or nicotine in the evening. These can make your nervous system more jumpy. It's important to say here that they're not going to cause panic. The only thing that can cause panic is your mind deciding you're under threat. But stimulants are designed to stimulate your system, and you're not looking to be stimulated right now. You're looking to sleep. So if you know your mind has a slight hair trigger on these things, then maybe set up a good environment for it to not get confused by what's going on in your body. Secondly, create a consistent sleep routine. Your body loves predictability. Routine is what ultimately allows you to feel safe. So don't change your bedtime in response to any panic experiences you've had. It will only send the message that something has to be done about this because there must be something wrong with this. If you wake up and your breathing or your heart rate is escalated, remind yourself that this will pass without you actually doing anything about it. You can notice it if you want, but you don't have to take any action here. If you treat any panic in this way, then I guarantee you won't even remember it calming down because you'll be back asleep before you realize. And most importantly, remind yourself of a very simple truth about what's actually happening. There is no danger. This is a false alarm, not a real emergency. It doesn't matter how bad it feels in the moment. Nobody ever died of panic, and you won't either. You don't have to sit up and accommodate it. You don't have to react to it or try and change it. No matter what mistakes your mind makes in the night and what your body does in response to that, you are and will remain safe. Nocturnal panic attacks are your mind doing the wrong thing for the right reason. It's trying to protect you. It just doesn't realize you're already safe. When you stop fighting the sensations and instead start reassuring your system that there's nothing to fear, the body learns. The panic stops feeling necessary. And that's when sleep becomes peaceful again. Let me know if this video has helped in the comments below. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for weekly anxiety-related videos. In fact, why not check out another one of my videos right now by clicking right here. But that's it for this one. I'm Tim Box. Always remember, be kind to your mind, and I'll see you next time.